Hi, my name is Julie Campiche, and you are watching If Ever You Are Listening podcast.
Finding her voice in jazz as a harpist was difficult, but Julie Campiche persevered. Finding her place in several jazz bands was complicated, but Julie Campiche developed her sound despite the challenges. Based out of Geneva, Switzerland, the pioneering jazz artist has spent decades reconfiguring harp standing in the genre as well as developing its possibilities in jazz arrangements, both in songs and on stage. She started her career in the experimental jazz group Orioxy. There, she won jazz awards, toured the world, and experienced critical acclaim. Her own reputation expanded during this period as well, and requests were made for her to join other groups over the years. Some of the collectives she worked with were Jibcae and Majudi, further cementing her status as one of the most versatile talents in the global jazz world. In the past few years, Julie has become front and center in her music, leading the Julie Campiche Quartet and releasing several albums with this group. In 2025, she won the prestigious Swiss Music Award for her outstanding and innovative jazz work. She didn't rest on her accolades, though, and in 2026, she dropped her terrific album, Unspoken, a meditative celebration of feminine strength, visible and invisible. It's this album that opened my eyes to Julie's extraordinary work, and it is also a major subject in our interview today. We also discuss her career in jazz, learning the harp for the first time, the challenges she faced when transitioning from classical to jazz music, her work in several different jazz groups, touring, and so much more. Julie was really, really open during this conversation. I think you guys are going to learn a lot from her, especially when it comes to pushing through some of the challenges in making music, and transitioning from one genre to the other. Enjoy. Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the If Ever You're Listening podcast. I'm your host, Stanley C. And today we have a pioneering figure in contemporary jazz, the innovative harpist, Julie Campiche. Thank you so much for being with us today, Julie. It's great to have you.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm really looking forward.
So we have a lot to dig into. You have some great music that's out right now, in Unspoken. But before we get into your newest project, I want to hear about the journey that got us here. Mm. So take us back kind of to your earlier years. What was your relationship like with music as a kid?
Um, you mean with my instrument or with music in general?
Music in general.
Music in general, I don't remember anything special. Of course, we listen music at home. Um, I remember when I was like 6 year old or something like that, I put Nougaro, which is a French singer, quite not revolutionary, but very involved and very like a little bit anarchist or something like that. And I was putting that very loud in the living room and singing very loud with him very political songs that I didn't even understood. I was too young, but I like the energy, like yeah,
Yeah.
very punky. In It's a French singer, so punky French singer. It's not really punky, but the energy, like the I was into that, and I really enjoyed it, and dancing at the same time, like going crazy. And yeah, that's one memory I have
Very
as
cool.
child with music.
So you always appreciated kind of the political statement, the punk energy of music, it sounds like.
Yeah, for me, it's I am much. I think I'm much. I am not so into a different style of music. I don't listen one style or another. I am much more focused on the energy
Mhm.
that brings the music, and I yeah, for me, when most often when the artists are very politically engaged, there is a kind of emergency. You can feel it, and I'm very sensitive about that. I also am also very sensitive when it's also very I don't know, intimate in the sense that the artist is getting naked in a way, like really giving his soul or her soul. It's very this kind of giving itself entirely and without borders, taking risk. That's I am sensitive to that kind of energy in the music of someone, and yeah.
No, that makes sense. And it comes up in your music, especially later on. Um, this idea of emergency, this idea of the now we need to talk about this right now because it's really important to talk about it. Um, but you start with before all of the albums and the projects, it starts with an instrument, the harp. And I want to go to, do you remember the first time you were introduced to the instrument or your first time trying it out? What gravitated you towards it?
Actually, I don't remember the first time I saw it, but my parents told me about that. I went to the opera with my class, and when I came back, I asked my parents, like, I want to play harp, and there is no musician in my family. So they are into culture and everything, but no musician. And so they were like, okay, well, yes, yes, and just waiting for me to go on the next idea. I was 6 years old, so there is one idea per minute. So let's wait until it passed. But it seems that it didn't pass, and I kept on asking about the harp. So after a while, they understood I was serious about it, and so they just took me to the conservatory, and I had very standard classical traditional way of learning the instrument for the first 10 years, which was very difficult for me
Yeah.
because I was definitely not used to that kind of atmosphere, I would say. I am born in a squat occupied house. And I was really like with my family, we were like in this, how do you would say, like alternative world. I don't know how do you say in English, but so yeah, the conservatory classical harp was very far from my world.
Yeah.
But I kept on. I kept on doing it, and yeah, after a while, then it was yeah. After a while, it was too much. I was teenager. It was the end of teenager. I was like, okay, I was finishing my school, and I wanted to go traveling around the world, and I had absolutely no plan to be professional with music. Even even my professor, who was very far away from my world, but she was saying to me and my parents, but she's really talented, really gifted as a musician. She should keep on going and blah blah blah. But I could not imagine myself as a classical harpist career. Like it was even I love classical music, but the job as a classical musician was absolutely no interest for me. I could not do that. So I just stopped everything and went on traveling. And when I came back, I kept on taking classes, but with a private professor who was much more open mind, and I started to work actually. And with her, I discovered the jazz because she gave me the contract she couldn't do, and one of it was with a big band, jazz big band. I loved it. I just fall in love with the jazz. I had no idea who was Miles Davis or John Coltrane back then, but I loved the energy, of the music and the interaction between musician, the interaction between musician and music. And I said, like, okay, that sounds really fun. How it's called? Jazz? Okay, I'm gonna play jazz. Oh, harp jazz doesn't exist. Oh shit. Okay, well, let's try for a while, and then we will see what happens. And that's how I really started, like out of nowhere. No idea about the classical jazz, and but it was much more the mindset of jazz that's really bring my and took my attention and motivated me to learn more about it.
That's
So
incredible. That's incredible. And it sounds like you had the spirit of jazz in you before you knew about the jazz music that you would participate in. Because you already were uncomfortable with like the structure of classical harp, and it sounded like it wasn't for you at all. But what I really appreciate about your music is that there aren't many harpists that do what you do, even still, let alone I'm sure when you started with no blueprint in front of you, how did you find your place playing at different jazz performances or with friends during these early years? How did you kind of find where the harp should fit?
actually, I took my harp in the jazz world. For me, it was you cannot learn jazz in your living room. That doesn't work. You have to take your instrument and go into the jazz world. So there is a place in Geneva which is quite known, AMR, and it's really the center of jazz in Geneva. It's a building. It's run by musicians, and there is some rehearsal room. There is two concert places, two concert rooms. It's also a school. Um, you can take classes from 12 years to 100 years, whatever. So it's a very melting pot, and it's in a very popular neighborhood in Geneva. And it's yeah. So I just went there and say hi. I would like to take some classes. It's only group classes. You cannot take individual classes.
Mhm.
So I would like to subscribe for some lessons, and I was too late. And but then I said, okay, well, I come back next year. And just when I went out, the guy told me, but which instrument do you play? I said, I play harp. I said, okay, so come back, come back, come back. We will find a way. And because it's a place like that, like it's
Yeah.
just always very yeah, fluently, and everything is moving, and rules are meant to move and
Mhm.
everything. So and then I started like that, and so I remember my first Latin jazz lessons. I arrived with my harp. I had no idea how to put a microphone on it. They gave me the chart, and I was like A, B, C, D with numbers, and I was like, "What does it mean? I have no clue what's happening to me." With Latin jazz, like it was in the underground of the house, and I remember I was wow, I was really going to cry. So I went to the bathroom, and I look at me in the mirror and say, okay, you have to make a decision. Either you take your harp, you go back home, you do something else with your life. Fair enough. It's okay. You are allowed to do that. Or you just take your ego, you put it in the toilet, and you go back there, and you're gonna struggle for months. even years. And I did it. I went back and said, okay, I don't understand anything about what's happening, but really nothing. And I was really able to play my instrument, but I knew nothing about jazz and the rules and how to write the music and really nothing, nothing. What is a chord? What is So I really started from scratch, and that's it. So I was always so my harp was always in the house. So I could not bring it to my home each time, blah blah blah. So I went there every day to practice my instruments. And so I started meeting people. I also worked in the bar in the house. I started to just I really went deep in this jazz world of this house. And at the same time, I also started again my classical study for the technique and everything. So for that, I went in Lyon in France. So I was traveling always between the two cities. And that's it. So I met people in this house and started to practice with them. And quite quickly, I met Yael, a singer, and together we co-founded a band, Orioxy. And with this band, I really started my professional journey.
Mm.
Um, but but I was completely lost at the beginning, really. So it was really fun because Yael, so she brought her composition. It was in 7/5/11, very complex structure and everything. But I was so lost, even with a four bar, four time bar, very simple thing. I was already lost. I couldn't play a blues, so it could be a personal composition in 7/11, whatever. It wasn't not much more complicated for me. So we went very, very deep into this complex things. And yeah, it just went very organically. No, organically, I don't know if you say
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
that's
it
yeah.
was very fluently
Yeah.
and easy. And it was all very natural.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for 20 years, I did my own booking. I
Hmm.
did everything on my own. So with the so of course with time with my partners. So the the singer I we co-founded the band. We worked together for 8 years managing the band. Then I had my own bands and blah blah. So it was I really learned in just doing things.
No, I really, really appreciate that, Julie, because you're a testament to what it takes to kind of just give it a try. Even if it's hard in the beginning, give it a try. Try it out. If you don't like it, you could do something else. But a lot of what musicians do, and a lot of my listeners are like early stage musicians, independent musicians. So the first couple years are meant to be hard. They're going to be hard naturally. And what I really appreciate about your story is that you're in several groups in the beginning. Some of them like overlap in terms of the years. Orioxy, you lead the group, but there's also Jibcae and there's also Majudi. Kind of talk to me about how do you decide what groups to join during these years? What attracts you to them?
Um, well, I must admit that with the harp, I was surprised that people called me. When I decided to start to really like, okay, I'm gonna be a professional musician. As the instrument is so strange in this in this genre of music,
Hmm.
I thought I would have only my bands. Nobody will ask for me because there is no need for harp. And so each time someone is asking for me, I'm always a little bit surprised. So now I'm a little bit more used to it. But at the beginning, I was like, "You want a harp? You're sure? Are you sure?" Really? So, but it's always about, but first of all, I have to like the music, obviously. I have to be, I have to enjoy the people.
Mm,
If if I don't like the people, I don't do it. It's not liking like, but I have to feel safe with them. Of course, I did mistakes at the beginning and was not following these rules at the beginning. Everyone need to learn. But now it's really a rules. Like if I don't feel comfortable with someone, I'm not gonna play with this. I need to feel safe to be able to give myself in music, and I cannot do it if I'm not safe. So it can mean different things for different person. It's not like there is not checklist of, but it's a feeling, and
mhm.
to trust this feeling. Even if someone is very famous and very blah 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 and very da da da, and if you don't feel safe, just run away.
As
because
fast as you
because
can. Yeah.
because it can damage something essential to be able to play music. And so it's not, so for me it's that the first rule, it's feeling safe, and then like enjoying the music, of course. And now there is the parameter of having time.
Yes.
That's more recent. It's like because I became mother, so
Yes.
the time doesn't, unfortunately, the day have only 24 hours,
Yeah.
and unfortunately I need to sleep. So yeah, I have to make choices. But yeah, that's the that's how I manage things. Yeah.
So interesting. No, thank you, Julie. And for anybody who, if you're listening to this and this may be your first time hearing about Julie Campiche, I would highly recommend kind of watching a couple videos of her performing, or if she's in town watching her, because a lot of my research for this interview, you're extraordinary on stage. Like it doesn't, I never seen a harpist do what you do on stage in cooperation with other jazz musicians. Because even within jazz, you're known as a pioneer. You're known as somebody who is very improvising in terms of the way you're using the instrument. So I want to dive a little bit more into how did you decide? Because so for instance, let's get very specific. You're sometimes you'll incorporate different synthesizers or different electronics or different vocal samples within the performance. So if you watch her, she'll be playing the harp and then she'll be doing something with like a keyboard of electronics, and then she'll go back to the harp and everything kind of molds together. And it's like magic, honestly. But where did you develop that part of the harp within jazz? When did you really start to take risks?
Oh, at my first jazz lessons and Latin jazz into into underground of Armor,
Uh-huh.
I took a lot of risk that
Mhm.
day. And yeah, I think starting like that, um, is kind of, I decided to do something that was not really something that exists. Of course, there is a few one in history, or THB, Disco Train, and uh, another few ones, but very few. It's not like something common. Very few person know about this musician. So
Mhm.
it, it's I decided to start something because I wanted to do it, but it was not really something that exists.
Mhm.
And so it never stopped this mindset, actually.
Mhm.
Is like sometimes I am looking for something, but I don't know what is it exactly. And so I'm trying stuffs, whatever it is, and using samples, for example, and really put it into music. It's something like it took me a while to start it, because I was looking. It was actually the first time we did it. It was with the quartet for a piece of a tribute to Fridays of Hope, so the social movement of Greta Thunberg.
Hmm.
So the song is called Fridays of Hope, and and uh, and it was like the first time we used it. It was like in a drum solo, and I am putting the words of Greta and playing, interacting with the drum solo. And we were looking for so long for something to what should happen in this moment in this song. And we tried for months. And at the end, 2 days before the first concert with the new repertoire, we found it. And it was like, okay, that's it. And so, okay, plap, plap, okay, laptop, OP1, blah, blah. Okay, how does it work? I have no clue. Okay, explain me. Okay, I press here. Okay, I press here. And that's it. And I went to state with the machine. I could use it for very few time. And it's like that. So you really need to, it's a mindset of just don't stop looking until you feel you arrived where the music need to arrive. And that's the way I work. For composition, I always have like I want I want to tell something. I don't know, even if there is no words, of course. It's a story. And so try as a composer. I try to find which music material will tell the story the best.
Hmm.
And that's my job, to really serve the story and make it shine as much as possible. And so it's not about playing what I know. It's never about playing what I know. So this mindset, I guess, make me invent things, or invent, I don't know, because a lot of people also are working with all of that. But uh, making bridge, I take a little bit of here, because of course the inspiration come from everything I see, I hear. So I take improvisation from everywhere. Sometimes I take improvisation from reading a newspaper, and so it's a very go really beyond. I'm not, for me, I'm not playing harp. I am playing music. Harp is an instrument, and everything else could be an instrument to play the music.
That's powerful. That's powerful, Julie. And I want to get to the point where you're in a lot of different groups, Orioxy, Jibcae, Majudi. Eventually, you do create your own group, the Julie Campiche Quartet, where it's not, you've led set groups before, but now your name is the group. So kind of walk me through the decision to create the quartet. Why did you decide to create the Julie Campiche Quartet, and what did you want to get out of it?
Actually, the name of the band, it was more a rush than a decision. And like, yeah, you have the gig and you have to name it. So I was like, oh, I'm really not inspired. Let's call it Chili Campus Quartet for now, and then we see. And actually, there were quite quickly some press, and so with this experience, I learned that when you start with the name, then you're stuck with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was also a little bit a choice of facility, if we can say it, like make it easier, because the quartet started when Orioxy stopped, and as I was working with Orioxy under the name of Orioxy, I had I didn't notice how much my name traveled in the jazz world in Europe. I was a little bit surprised at the end of Orioxy that the promoter, they know me, they know my name, even if I was just one of the two leaders of the band. I guess the harp help, but so I said, okay, if it's Julie Campiche quartet, it's gonna be easier to to communicate on it because they know my name. So it's gonna be easier to get gigs, to get article of the music, and yeah, to start the process because I already knew how hard is it to start a process with a new project when you are kind of nobody. I had done it with Orioxy, so it's you can do it. It's doable, but it's really hard. So I said, okay, let's have the help we can have, and it seems that my name can help a little bit. So then I it was also this decision, and yeah, I think it worked because at the end my goal was to have concert. I love playing concerts, so it was like, well, whatever the name, if calling it Julie Campiche Quartet helps to get more easily concerts, and well, let's call it that way. But it was a few months before I had to create the juliecampiche.com, my own website. And that was the most therapeutic things I have ever done in my life. It was really, really hard for me.
Oh.
And I discovered doing this how I was happy to play undercover the name of a band.
Mm.
It was really not my goal to have my name and blah blah. I it was hard for me at the beginning, but then I understood. Okay, it's just a name. It's like I had already learned to take a distance with the name because I worked for the name of the band and the promoter and blah blah blah. And so then when I had to write for my own name,
Hmm.
um, I could use the same energy and said, do it as it was a band. It's just that the name of the band is your name, but it's a
Mm.
band. And so it helped me. If I had to start with my own name from the very beginning, it would have been much harder for me
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was really not a goal to have
No.
my name and blah blah blah. But now I'm used to it and it doesn't affect me anyway. Like, it's okay. It's a name.
I was gonna ask about that because after the quartet, then the next sequence is that you go completely solo and now it's just your name. Julie Campiche, no quartet. So I was like, if it was hard before, how difficult was it then to completely go solo where your name is the complete name of the it's just you.
Well, now it's not a question anymore.
Mm,
It's just I grew up with the time, so it's not so much. I am not affected, not in a way, not in another. Like not good, not bad. It's just the name. It's just the way it is, and it's just um, uh, I'm yeah. I need. It's like social media, for example. I am really not so much in social media. I mostly use it for political things than for music as a consumer, I would say. But I know how important is it now to communicate with it, to get in touch. Also, I learn how it's cool because you can be in touch with people from all around the world.
so
For
cool.
example, for my solo album, you know the first song, Anonymous? there is these voices of all the women. Well, some of them are women from social media. I don't even know her. They send me the audio because I posted a video asking everyone who wants to participate can send me the audio. And I learn how it's cool. I still know how bad it can be. But it's just like find my way to it. Find my way to there is some rules I don't play in social media, even if I lose some stuff. I don't mind. Have less visibility if I use these words or if I do that. Well, I don't care. I won't make any artistic compromise or moral compromise. But I had to learn how to appreciate social media because it was not instinctive for me. It's the same thing with my name, using my name, having my name, listening and blah blah blah. It was not easy, but then I learned it's a tool. There is some good, there is some bad, and you just learn with managing that and have the right balance. And now it's not even a question for me. I don't question it anymore.
Very cool. And the way you use social media, you said as a consumer for political reasons, a lot of that political kind of social, cultural statements you now put into the music, especially the new music on Unspoken, your newest album, which I want to talk about. Love the project, incredible, one of my favorites of the year. But it's not the first time you've been political, but I would say probably it's the f most political album you've made. Um, and you're talking about a lot of women from Las Patronas, Tarana Burke, uh, I'm gonna butcher her name, Griselidis Real.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
okay, I love that song, so I feel I was like I want to say it right. And a lot of these women, what they share in common is that they're activists about certain topics, from prostitution or sex work to migrant rights to sexual violence. So these very heavy topics. And you put their voices in the music, which I really found really powerful, under on top of like these beautiful soundscapes, jazzy, kind of like atmospheric soundscapes. Talk to me about, because I was like, how did she even think to do something like this? How did you come up with the idea, and how did you approach it? How did you approach it musically?
So the idea came with motherhood.
Yeah.
When I became a mother, I had the gender inequality right in my face.
Hmm.
Uh, I come from a very, but really very protected place. I live in Switzerland. My parents are very alternative people, open-minded. I can speak from about any topic with them. Everyone in my around me are very like welcoming, really well, uh, very good people. I'm really like I don't know what I did in my previous life, but I did some amazing thing because I'm really blessed in this life. But even that way, um, I felt very strong. It was very strong, the pressure of the society when I became a mother, that like really they want to put you in your gender role. And I was not okay with it.
Hmm.
That was really not what I wanted to do. So it hurt and it was complicated. So instinctively, I started to, yeah, get a little bit more in touch and listen some podcast of feminism, read some books and movies and whatever. Like really just having information from the feminism movement around the world, what's happening, and it it gave, I was already feminist before, of course, but with my head.
Hmm.
When I became a mother, I became feminist with my whole body. It was like, rah. Okay. And then it, like, all these women, this incredible woman around the world, feminist activists, they gave me so much strength. That it gave me words to understand what was happening to me, what was what I being, so I was able to express what what I felt, what I needed. When you can put words on things, then you start to have the power to change things. Before that, it's very difficult to fight when you cannot name the fight. And so after a while, it became very clear for me that I needed to be part of the movement with my things, and my things is music. So I had to give the energy I received, I had to give it back and make it circulated. So, and then the fact that it was so this project is, there is a musical portrait of every woman, and so each track is a musical portrait of a woman or a group of women. And this, um, to decide to do it was inspired from a podcast in French, which is called Un podcast à soi, a podcast for yourself. And that's a podcast from Arte Radio, and it's very, wow, it really hit me, this podcast. It still exists, there is still news, and so I listened for it for years now. And some of them I listened a few times. It made me cry, it made me grow up, it made me realize how I participate to the patriarchy. It really, it made me grow very, very intensely. And so, and this podcast give it almost only women speaking in this podcast. Every expert on every topics are women, and yeah, I don't know. It was for me like, okay, I love so much that this podcast give the a space for women. So I want, I don't know, leur donner la parole, like give the microphone to women. So
Mhm.
I want to do the same. I want to give the microphone to some women, and that's where it came, the idea of the musical portrait of a few women.
Incredible. Incredible. Like I said, guys, listen to the project. It's called Unspoken. Um, I've been playing it a lot this year. You've been touring it. Talk to me about how has the experience been playing these songs in person? Has it changed how you think about the album? Have people picked out things about the project you may not have like thought about too much or that you wanted them to talk about?
Uh, I admit that the first concert live after the album release were really stressful, because, for example, last week I played in Paris, and there were a few journalists present that I had met the months before. I went for interviews and radio and blah blah blah, and they told me like, I love so much your album, and then when I had to play it live, I was like, oh, is it going to work? Because you know the feeling when you love an album, you
Yes.
go to the concert and you are disappointed.
Yes. Yeah.
I was so afraid of it, but it seems, from the feedback I had, that it didn't went that way. So I was really released. And also from the audience, there after the show in Paris, there were a woman who came and told me, I'm listening to the album for 1 month now. the album went out 1 month ago, and I'm listening to the album for 1 month now, and I am so looking forward for the next concert.
Wow.
Well, wow, what a gift! It was really strong. And also, I played it in a few weeks ago in a museum,
Mhm.
museum for Berlioz. And so the audience was from 6 year old to 90 years old. People who goes to the museum, that's not really jazz people, to the Museum of Berlioz.
Yeah.
So it was not an easy audience, I guess. And it was like, okay, and they loved it. They loved it. They really, and it was so powerful to see, for example, this like old woman in the audience that I could see their face during playing, because it was like a museum. It was not really like a big music hall and something like that. So it was very intimate. I played 4 times this day, so it was intimate group. It was really powerful to see how, with some of the topics of the portrait, how I interpreted a few of the reaction even as a release for some of them, like, oh yes, oh thank you, you're speaking about it, like something, I don't know, it was, and it was people from 30, 60, 80 years old, even children. They were more about the instrument and stuff like that for the children, but yeah, there were links with every generation, and that was for me very powerful to see that, okay, it's working. It's making, for me, this project is about opening doors, getting in touch, planting some little plants that will grow in the time. Just be part of this process of changing little bit, little by little,
Mm.
every one of us, and allowed us to grow up together. And so to see that the connection is working from professional to just music amateur, not even jazz amateur. It's very large, the range of audience that can be touched with this music, and that was one of my hope with this project. And so I'm profoundly touched that it worked. And also, it's a music that is, I didn't make any compromise with it.
Mm.
So I knew that speaking about these topics could perhaps close doors, because let's be honest, most of the promoter are um,
Yes.
privileged men of our society.
Yep.
So some of them, of course, not all of them, but some of them can be a little bit annoyed by that kind of, again, this topic and blah, blah, blah. So, but I don't care. I needed to do this project until the end and with no compromise. And I'm profoundly surprised how, at the end, at least for the journalistic side of it, they're they're into it. They really, most of them are. It touched them, and that's I'm, yeah, I don't know how to say it more differently. I'm really touched, because it's not about, and it's not touched about, oh, they love like how I play, because it's not about that.
No.
It's this music. It's not about how I play. It's much beyond me, and that's why it touched me so much. I guess.
Well, consider me one of the journalists that was touched. For the audience, I reached out to Julie to do this interview because of I listen to a lot of music and I don't reach out to every artist I listen to, but something it was I think the voices you were highlighting, I felt like you uncovered something that was right there, but I didn't see it. And so once I saw it, I was like, how did I not see this? And then like it leads you to look these people up and look these groups up, and then you find out all these things that are happening that you may know a little bit about, but Julie's music helps. It makes the world a little bit bigger. It makes you feel a little bit more responsible and a little bit more uh, uh, you want to participate more in kind of the positive change in the world. And the music does a really good job at bringing you to that place mentally. So I just want to thank you for making the album, Julie, because it's a beautiful album.
Thank you so much. Wow. Your
No,
words are very powerful for me, and
no.
I really appreciate.
You have a fan in me now, but I want to. So if you're ever in the United States, please play in New York. I'll be there. I want to hear about what you're looking forward to this year for 2026. What does the rest of the year look like for you? What are some things you're really excited about?
Um, well, I finish a big period of hard work next week. I have two more concerts next week.
Cool.
One in solo, one in quartet.
Hmm.
And then I have 2 weeks of holidays that I didn't had that for a very long time. And I must admit, I'm really looking forward to that for that one. And having some time to unpack
Yes.
because we moved 9 months ago and I still didn't unpack with two children and everything. So it's like, it's very punkish. Um, but no, otherwise I'm really looking forward that this project is like going into like my like playing often, playing a lot with this project.
Hmm.
And in parallel with the quartet, we're starting to work on the next repertoire already. So that will so the new creation is already on movement.
Good.
Yeah, it's always I'm a workaholic, definitely.
Workaholic.
Yeah. So that's it. So I'm really looking forward to like have this solo on the rail, like how do you say it? Sur les rails in French.
Hmm.
Like okay, having his routine, but not in a bad way, in a
Yeah.
very good way. Like because you create it, you start, yeah, you do the promotion of the album, and now just okay, the project is flying on its own, in
Hmm.
that way. And so I'm really looking forward to start to feel that.
Hmm.
And at the same time, really looking forward to go back working with my colleagues now that I come back with all these new things that I learned, a new me. It was like uh, giving birth to myself again with this project, a little bit of that, because I if you would have told me 10 years ago that I would have a solo album, I would have said like, ha ha ha, you're a very funny guy, Never in my life it will happen. So, and to make it with something so personal, um, yeah, it made me grow grow up a lot, and I'm very grateful for that.
No, I love that. That's so important. I want to talk to you about some fun things now to end our interview. It's like some fun questions. I call them the if ever you're listening questions. So, for you, actually, if usually they're questions that I give to everybody, but there is a few things that happened to you recently that I want to talk to you about. One of them being the Swiss Music Award. You were awarded the Swiss Music Award last year for innovative musical work, particularly in jazz for you. And talk to me about what was that like winning that award? Did you expect to win it last year? And what was that experience like?
I was not expecting it. When they called me, I was in bed, breastfeeding my baby, who was like 6 months old, something like that. And I was a little bit like tired, depressed, a little bit like, And then someone called me and tell me about like, hello, I'm a Swiss Department of Culture. I'm calling you because you won a Swiss Music Prize, and was like, what? Uh, okay. Well, I didn't really realize, and really, and you see yourself from outside suddenly, and you're like with your phone, the baby in pyjama, and I was okay. And then the girl told me, yeah, I'm gonna write you an email with all the info. So, okay, wow, thank you, bye. Okay. And the email took 2 weeks to come. So
Wow.
I was like, after a few days, I said, perhaps it was a joke. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was a joke.
Wow.
And then the email came, and I was like, oh, it's not a joke. So it was all a little bit like that. And it was of course very, very grateful for the for that. And it's funny because because there is several prizes, and there is one big prizes, and the big prizes was to Sylvie Courvoisier, who
Yeah.
is living in New York. So
Oh,
so that's why I mentioned it. But so it
very
was
cool.
also a good moment, so that we met a few times and exchanged. It was also very nice to I knew her by name, she knew me by name, but with this we went a little bit closer and knew more about each other. We had some crossed interview, both of us together. But yeah, it was also a good opportunity to meet new people, actually,
Wow.
make new connection, new relationships, which is always what I love, of course. So
So cool. So cool. Well, well deserved. I want to congratulate you on that. Well deserved. It's a good testament to your life, contributions to the genre and contributions to music. So I was very happy to hear that you won that award this past year. Um, for my next question, it's about music that you listen to. I want to know what is on Julie Campiche's playlist. What are you listening to these days, if you have time?
yeah, yeah. I listen very different stuff, but
Mhm.
recently I listen a lot of salsa.
Mm.
I was a salsa dancer in my previous life, like when
Ah.
I was 20. I was out dancing salsa every night until very early in the morning. And then I went to school to sleep a little bit. But yeah, I'm back into salsa because I don't know. My little one, who is 20 months old, she loves dancing. So I put salsa in the house, and we just dance and all together. I listen a lot of Billie Eilish.
Yeah, yeah.
I really love her music. Most of the previous album than the last, but well, that's just personal taste. And
Mhm.
there is also My Brightest Diamond. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is this album I love. Everything Goes Unwind. I don't know exactly the name of the album. It's a red cover. Um,
I'll find it.
everything goes unwell, unwind. Let me check. My brightest
Yeah,
diamond.
I've heard of My Brightest Diamond. They're from New York, I think.
Yeah, I think she's American.
Mhm.
Yeah. All things will unwind.
All Things Will Unwin. Oh yes, yes, yes. Oh yeah.
This
Okay.
album,
Love that
I
album cover.
can listen it 10 times, like
Mhm.
around, around, around.
Heck yeah.
Um, I listen a lot of The Doors.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love it. Um, uh, there's this singer. I'm really bad with names, so it's always a very tricky question for me because even very famous people, I don't remember their name. Um, this guy who sing has a very low voice,
Hmm.
or Alice. He has a song called Alice. Um, um, well, he is very famous. When I will see the name, you will say, of course. But well, he was her wife is her producer, I think.
Oh, okay.
Uh, he's so famous, but well, don't.
If you
Well,
find it, send it
it
to
will
me.
come. It will come back.
Yeah. No worries.
Also, Rage Against the Machine. I love
Oh yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and in jazz, I would say, oh, the singer. Uh, she's the one with the flower. Uh,
Ooh, she has a flower.
Billie Holiday, of
Billie
course.
Holiday. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I imagine her with the flower, but I'm not sure. She has always it. But I just have one picture of her with it. Billie Holiday is definitely one my favorite singer in jazz. Um, Keith Jarrett, I love what he play, but not so much the standards. That's not so much my stuff, but every improvisation in solo or in trio, changeless, sunbeers sessions in Japan tour in solo. That kind of stuff of him, I really love it. So again, it's not about only. Perhaps I will just focus on one album or one side of an artist. I don't, and I cannot really explain why, but it's just the way it is. So it's
No. That was awesome. That was exactly what I wanted to hear. Kind of different genres that you listen to, different songs within artists' discography. Thank you so much for sharing that for the listener. Listen to some of that music. It's a lot of it I knew about, but I don't know some of them. Like the Alice song, I want to find that one out.
I will send it by email because
Yeah, email it to me.
it's when you will run it,
I'm
it
gonna
will
go
be,
like,
of
oh yeah,
course,
yeah.
Tom Waits from Tom Waits.
Oh yes, yes,
Voilà.
yes, yes, yes.
Of
Okay.
course, Tom Waits. Oh,
Now,
and Lassa also, the singer Lassa,
yeah.
La Llorona.
Uh-huh.
If you know her, that's also something that I listen very often.
So
It come
cool.
back very often.
Okay, we have two more questions. My next one is about, and we were hinting at this earlier in the interview, it's about how do you balance being a musician that tours with motherhood, and having kids, especially a very young kid, um, both when it comes to kind of when you find time to make music, and also when do you have time to perform music? How do you find this balance?
Also, so first of all, um, I can do it because I'm not alone.
Mhm.
That's the key. But I mean, I'm really not alone. There is a lot of people around me, and I would not be able to do it otherwise. That's really, I am, again, I don't know what I did in my previous life, but I'm so blessed and I have so much to be thankful for.
Mm.
My parents are very involved. Yeah, they are the kind of involved, like asking me when they can go on holidays, when it will not be too much problematic for me.
Good.
That's kind of being help. Um, and having wonderful relationships with both of my daughters. The father, of course, is very. He's also a musician. He's the bass player of my quartet. So
Ah,
sometimes we are on tour together, and sometimes he stay at home with one of so with the big one. The little one is still breastfeeding, so she goes everywhere with me. I have, so for my first daughter, my mother went on tour with me all the time to take care of my child. And so she really gave me the gift of not having to choose between being a mother and a musical career, which is, I think, the best gift she could give me. Um, and then, well, 8 years later, she doesn't have the energy to go across Europe with me. But we have some help from the other family that allowed us now to have a nanny on tour.
good.
Like really being able to pay a nanny to come on tour. Because of course, it's not with jazz fee that you have enough money to have a nanny unless you take your feet to give it to the nanny and then you eat sun and whatever. No, but so it's yeah, this allowed us to have the to pay someone to be on tour with us.
Incredible.
Um, Otherwise, it would have been a little bit complicated. Actually, when we received this help from the family, like it's I don't know how to say it in English, an avance sur étage. Like you give money to someone before you die.
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
I don't know the
I know what you're
technical.
talking about though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we received it. Was we didn't expect that, but we received some of that, and
Inheritance,
so
right?
inheritance, like
Yeah.
but in advanced.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I guess it could be like
okay,
an early inheritance.
yeah, something like that. And so we decided to, with that, we said because we were thinking about having a second child, but we were really struggling and saying like, how are gonna we cannot manage that. We don't have the money to pay someone, and the grandparents are too old now to do it. Like they are still very energetic to stay at home with the child and blah blah blah. But like to go on tour, it's not possible anymore. So we were a little bit with these questions, and then just this news have arrived
Wow.
of the inheritance, and so we said, okay, that's the solution. We don't want to buy a chalet in whatever very fancy ski station. We are not that kind of, we don't live that kind of life. So that's really not what are we going to do with this money? And
Mm,
we said, okay, we would like to continue working and without having to compromise on our family
mhm.
balance. So that was it. That was the solution of of that, and being able, and plus of that, to give really good condition of job for the person who is doing it. So like really no compromise for nobody, and that's the best. We were very lucky.
Hell yeah. I like this. It's a good theme actually I'm hearing throughout this interview is don't compromise. Like you don't have to compromise. You could get creative in how to find a solution that works for you. Whether that's making jazz music that's creative and new, uh, being a parent, being a musician, it's not a zero sum game. It's not either or. You can do both, but you have to find that community, it sounds like. It's really helpful.
Definitely, it's the key, having a community and very strong community,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
because yes, it's possible, but I'm not lying, it's fucking hard.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the only compromise that I do is my sleeping hours and
Hmm.
my personal time. I
Mm,
don't have time for myself. I don't have enough sleep, but it's okay. It's not for all my life. It's
yeah.
for a while, a few years. And I think it's a compromise that every parents do,
Yeah.
whatever is your job. So I don't think it's related to be a musician.
Facts. My that's funny. My last question is about advice. I want to hear from you. What advice would you give to an artist that was in your position when maybe you first started going to that jazz house and practicing and screwing up Latin jazz, and feeling really defeated and feeling really like they may not have what it takes, but they really love to do this. What advice would you give to that person, that musician, to carry on, to continue?
um, I think it's like learning a new foreign language.
Mm.
You will not learn a foreign language staying in your living room and with Duolingo on your app in your phone. It's not going to work. You have to take your luggage and go live in this country that you want to learn the language. And of course, at the beginning, you are you are completely lost. I literally did it when I went to South America. I arrived in Mexico. I was able to speak three words of Spanish, and the first taxi I called never arrived. I think the guy on the phone never understood a word I was saying.
Wow.
So I just went by walking at the end because I thought, okay, I was waiting. I think you will never arrive. I think it's a defeat. Keep on working. Keep on working until you arrive where you want to go. So that's it's the same. Like jazz, it's not just learning how to do a 2-5-1 with the right extensions and the coolest alteration and blah blah blah. It's not that. It's a mindset. It's a feeling. It's an energy, and you need to feel it, to practice it, to go deep into that, um, and you need to be lost at the beginning. It's the way to learn. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of mistakes, and just go around people you feel safe and learn with them. Mm, it's not always the more fancy people, but it's okay. You don't go to people who share the light, um, more than are shiny, and then you don't see anything. Like I don't know how, I don't have the right words, but I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I do,
There are
yeah.
very shiny people
Yeah,
that are very impressive. You are very impressed,
yeah,
but if they are not generous with
yeah.
this light, then just pass your way and go to the people who are generous with this
Hmm.
energy. And that's and yeah, it's and sometimes if you need a break, take a break. It's okay to be tired, to be depressed, to be hopeless. And um, I remember when I started jazz, I was so lost sometimes that I needed to play classical music just to reassure myself. Like just, that's easy. I know to do. I know how it works, and
Hmm.
it was like a break for me to play a classical piece because it was easy, and I was not lost for 5 minutes. So that's like find your own balance, like taking the risk, but not too much so that you don't lose uh, the faith. And I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I hope you understand what I mean.
No, I did. I did. That was incredible advice, Julie. Truly, this idea of taking risks, finding the people willing to help you. Don't just look for the most famous person or the biggest name. Look for the real people that genuinely care about you. Work, collaborate with them, and take breaks because you're gonna burn out. You're gonna burn out. That's part of the process, but don't give up just because it's hard. Um, Thank you so much, Julie, for coming to the If Ever You're Listening podcast. This was a true honor for me to talk with you, but I hope also a great gift to our audience to learn from you. And like I said, please listen to Julie's new album, Unspoken, out now on all everywhere you could probably hear music. It's there. Um, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope you have a great break coming up for yourself, Julie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for your very interesting question. It was really nice to speak with you.
My pleasure.